Tracy Jacob was 16 years old and lived in a quiet suburb just outside of Columbus, Ohio. She split her time between her mom and dad ever since they divorced 3 years ago. It wasn't perfect, but she had learned how to manage 2 homes, 2 sets of rules, and 2 completely different lives. Her dad's house felt like a place where she could breathe. It was small, a bit messy, and the fridge was always full of frozen pizza and leftover Chinese food. But it was safe. He actually listened when she talked. He made a big deal about her report cards and still showed up for school concerts, even if she was just playing the tambourine in the back row. Her mom's house was different. After the divorce, her mom started dating Peter, a man she met at her office job. Less than a year later, they got married. And with Peter came baggage, 2 boys, Tony and Caleb, both younger than Tracy and loud enough to shake the windows. It felt like she went from being her mom's only daughter to just another person in the house. Everything changed. Her mom used to braid her hair before school. Now, she spent more time packing Caleb's lunch than even looking at Tracy. Peter ran the house like he was the boss of some suburban company. His rules, his routine, his boys. Tracy tried to stay out of the way. She did her homework, kept her room clean, and barely spoke unless spoken to. Still, it never felt like enough. She wasn't rebellious. She didn't sneak out, drink, or party. But the more she tried to stay invisible, the more she felt like she actually was. That summer, she learned just how invisible they really thought she was. It happened during the first week of summer break. Tracy had just finished finals and was actually looking forward to sleeping in, maybe watching some old sitcoms, and just existing without pressure for a while. That morning, she woke up around 10 a.m. The house was strangely quiet. No cartoons blaring from the living room. No pans clattering in the kitchen. No yelling from Peter about Tony's shoes or Caleb's cereal bowl. Just silence. She walked into the kitchen, expecting to find a note or something. But there was nothing on the fridge. Nothing on the counter. She checked her phone. No texts. No missed calls. Confused, she looked into the garage. Both cars were gone. She called her mom's phone, thinking maybe they had gone grocery shopping. Her mom picked up on the 3rd ring, her voice cheerful, like she was at a picnic. "Hey Tracy, where are you?" her mom asked. Tracy tried to keep her voice calm. "I'm home. Where are you?" "Oh, didn't I tell you?" Her mom said like it was nothing. "We're on a trip. Peter surprised us with a week at Lake Norris. We left super early. I didn't want to wake you." Tracy froze. "You left without telling me?" "Well, you've been kind of moody lately, and we figured you'd enjoy the quiet. Besides, someone needs to watch the house." Her throat tightened. "So, I'm just not part of this family trip?" Her mom paused. "Don't take it personally, honey. It was last minute. Peter thought it'd be easier this way." Click. She hung up before Tracy could say anything else. Tracy stood in the middle of the kitchen, phone still in her hand. Her heart was pounding so loud she could barely think. Watch the house. That's what she was now. Not a daughter. Not a stepsister. Not even a teenager on summer break. Just the unpaid house sitter. She looked at the fridge, staring at the old family photo stuck to the door with a magnet. It was from Christmas 2 years ago, before Peter, before everything changed. Her mom had one arm around her, and the other holding a mug of cocoa. They were both smiling like they belonged to each other. Now, that version of her mom felt like a stranger. Tracy wanted to scream or cry or both. But instead, she walked back upstairs and sat at the edge of her bed. She kept replaying her mom's voice in her head. So casual, so careless. Peter thought it'd be easier this way. Easier for who? She texted her mom. No response. She texted again, just one word. Seriously? Nothing. That's when she realized her mom wasn't going to reply. Not today. Maybe not ever. Her mom didn't forget her. She chose to leave her out. Tracy wasn't sick. She wasn't grounded. She wasn't in trouble. She was just inconvenient. Once that truth settled deep in her chest, something inside her broke. She wasn't sad. She was done. No tears. No begging. No pretending. She grabbed her backpack, threw in some clothes, her journal, and her phone charger, and walked out the front door without looking back. If they didn't want her around, fine. She'd make it easy for them. She didn't even slam the door. Just closed it behind her, quietly. Let them be the loud ones. She had learned a long time ago that people like Peter only noticed when you made noise. And even then, only to tell you to stop. Outside, the Ohio summer heat clung to her skin. She walked down the street without a destination, just away. Away from that house. Away from the silence. Away from the feeling that she didn't fit in the puzzle anymore. By the time she reached the gas station 2 blocks away, she realized she didn't have a real plan. But she had her phone, her debit card, and one person she knew she could always count on. Tracy called her dad. He picked up on the first ring. "Hey, kiddo. Everything okay?" That was all it took. The tears she had been holding back came pouring out, fast and heavy. "Can I come over?" she asked. He didn't ask questions. He didn't ask why she wasn't at her mom's or why she sounded like she had just been hit in the chest. He just said, "I'll unlock the front door and order your favorite Chinese. Just get here safe." That was her dad. 15 minutes later, Tracy was at his place. Same crooked mailbox, same faded swing on the porch. It smelled like motor oil and barbecue sauce, comfort and chaos. He opened the door before she could even knock. "Come in, Tracy," he said, giving her a hug that lasted longer than any hug she had felt in months. They sat on the couch, a box of General Tso's chicken between them, and Tracy told him everything. The trip, the silence, how her mom made it sound like she was just a responsibility nobody wanted to claim. Her dad didn't interrupt. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just listened with that look he always had when something bothered him. Eyebrows pulled together, jaw tight, like he was holding back all his emotions to stay calm for her. When she finished, Tracy looked down at her plate, suddenly ashamed. "I probably sound dramatic," she said. He stopped her. "No, you sound hurt. And I'd be worried if you weren't angry." "That wasn't right, Tracy." She nodded, swallowing hard. "You don't have to go back there," he added quietly. "You can stay here as long as you want." That sentence hit harder than she expected. Not just because she finally felt like she had somewhere to land, but because it reminded her that she didn't have to fight for space in someone's life. He cleared a drawer in the bathroom, found her extra towels, and let her choose which side of the closet she wanted. No drama, no guilt trips, just space. Real space. And someone who actually wanted her there. That night, as Tracy lay in the guest room listening to the soft hum of the box fan in the window, she finally exhaled. For once, she wasn't holding her breath, waiting to be wanted. She already was. 5 days passed before her mom finally remembered she existed. Tracy was sitting on the back porch at her dad's house, reading a worn copy of Looking for Alaska, when her phone lit up with her mom's name. She stared at the screen for a moment. No texts. No check-ins. No, "How are you?" after leaving her alone for a whole week. Just her mom calling. She hesitated, then answered. "What happened to the house?" her mom asked, skipping any kind of hello. Tracy blinked. "What are you talking about?" "It was broken into," her mom snapped. "The back window is shattered. The TV's gone. Someone went through all the drawers. And you weren't even there." Tracy sat up, her heart pounding. "Wait, what?" "Don't play dumb, Tracy. You left. You were supposed to be there. We told you to watch the house." "No," she said slowly, trying to stay calm. "You didn't tell me. You didn't ask. You didn't even tell me you were going on a trip. I told you on the phone that morning." "Yeah," Tracy shot back. "After you were already gone. After I woke up to an empty house. You called to justify it, not to ask me anything." There was silence on the other end. Then her mom said, "Peter's furious. That TV was brand new. He says this never would have happened if you'd done what we asked." Tracy almost laughed, except none of it was funny. "What you asked?" Her voice rose. "You left me without notice. No list, no keys, no conversation. And now I'm responsible for your stuff. You're 16, Tracy. Not a child. We trusted you to be responsible." She could feel her chest heating up, her throat tightening. "No, Mom. You didn't trust me. You forgot me. There's a difference." Her mom scoffed. "You're being dramatic." "No," Tracy said, now standing up. "I'm being honest." She looked across the lawn. Her dad was out there, tinkering with the old grill. He glanced up, sensing something was wrong, and gave her a nod. She turned her back to the screen door and looked out at the yard, instead of the house she used to call home. "Did you even notice I was gone?" she asked, her voice quieter now. There was no answer. She let the silence grow. Let her mom feel how loud it was. Then she said, "I'm staying at Dad's from now on." "You're not being reasonable," her mom muttered. "I'm not your backup plan anymore, Mom. I'm not the invisible daughter who picks up the slack when Peter's kids come first." Another moment passed. "Please don't do this," her mom finally said. Her voice was softer now, like she had just realized Tracy meant it. I'm not doing anything, she replied. I'm just done letting you pretend I don't matter. Then Tracy hung up. Not to be cruel. Not out of spite. But because for the first time in a long time, she knew her worth. And she wasn't going to let her mom rewrite the story again. That call didn't break her. It made things clear. It confirmed what she already knew, that she had been treated like an afterthought in her own family. But she was done being left behind. 2 days after Tracy hung up on her mom, Peter showed up at her dad's house without warning. She was folding laundry in the living room when the doorbell rang. Tracy peeked out the window and nearly dropped the towel in her hands. There he was, arms crossed, sunglasses on, wearing that smug expression like he was walking into a boardroom instead of someone else's porch. Her dad opened the door, stepping halfway outside to keep the tension from entering the house. Tracy couldn't hear every word, but she caught enough. Peter demanding to speak to her, her dad saying, "She doesn't want to talk to you." And Peter raising his voice about disrespect and abandoning responsibility. That's when Tracy stepped out onto the porch. "Peter," she said flatly. He turned toward her with a fake smile. "There you are. You've got some explaining to do." She folded her arms. "Do I?" He blinked, clearly not expecting her to stand her ground. "You left the house unattended. Because of you, someone broke in. We're missing thousands of dollars worth of stuff. Your mother is beside herself." She nodded slowly. "Right. And none of this would have happened if I had magically known I was supposed to babysit the house you all left me in, without even telling me." His jaw tightened. "That's not the point." "No, Peter," she said, stepping forward. "That's exactly the point. You didn't see me as part of the trip, but the second something went wrong, I suddenly mattered." Her dad stood behind her, arms crossed, saying nothing. A quiet wall of support. Peter's voice dropped into that condescending tone Tracy knew too well. "You're being emotional, Tracy. This kind of behavior won't get you anywhere in life." Something in her snapped, not from anger, but from clarity. "No, what won't get me anywhere is letting people like you treat me like I'm disposable. You treat your sons like royalty and treat me like a tenant with chores." Peter rolled his eyes. "You always play the victim." "No," she snapped. "I've just stopped being okay with being ignored." His voice rose again. "You need to grow up and take accountability." Her dad stepped in now, calm but firm. "Peter, I think you've said enough. You're not welcome here to yell at my daughter on my porch." Peter turned red, clearly not used to being shut down. "I came here for a civil conversation." "Then maybe you should have started with one," her dad said and closed the door in his face. Tracy stood there for a moment, heart racing. Not from fear, but from the relief of finally saying everything she'd been holding back for the last 2 years. It was done. No more playing nice. No more being the peacemaker. No more shrinking herself just to keep the peace in a house that never made space for her. She walked back inside, exhaled deeply, and let her knees fold onto the couch. Her dad came in behind her, tossed his keys on the table, and said, "I should have kicked that guy off the porch sooner." She gave him a real smile this time. "I'm glad you didn't," she said. "I needed to do it myself." And she meant it, because sometimes the only way to find your voice is to use it, loud and clear, where it was never welcomed before. After Peter left, everything felt still. No phone calls. No surprise visits. Just silence. But it wasn't the same silence she had known in that house, where she used to sit quietly in her room while her mom and Peter watched movies downstairs with Tony and Caleb. This silence was different. It was peaceful, freeing. For the first time in a long while, Tracy didn't feel like she had to tiptoe around someone else's mood or beg for a place at the table. Still, there was a weight inside her she couldn't quite shake. A few nights later, she lay in bed, staring up at the ceiling fan spinning slowly. Her thoughts drifted to her mom. Her voice, her absence, the way she used to hold Tracy's hand in parking lots or hum softly while folding laundry. When did she stop seeing her? That question haunted Tracy. She remembered being 10 years old, sitting at the kitchen table, proudly holding up a crayon drawing of her and her mom at the park. Her mom smiled and pinned it to the fridge. That version of her, the mom who made pancakes shaped like animals and tucked her in every night, felt like a dream now, one she couldn't go back to. Peter didn't steal her mom. He just gave her an exit, and she took it, realizing that hurt more than Tracy expected. She had spent so long blaming him, hating him. But in the end, her mom let it happen. She let go of Tracy, little by little, until she became the kid who just handled things. Quiet, reliable, invisible. And Tracy had played along, thinking that if she just stayed easy enough, maybe her mom would come back. But that night something shifted. She got up, grabbed her journal, and wrote something she hadn't said out loud before. I miss the mom I had, but I'm starting to accept she's not coming back. It wasn't bitter. It wasn't angry. It was just the truth. And with that truth, something else came, a strange kind of peace. Because if her mom wasn't coming back, Tracy didn't have to keep waiting. She didn't have to chase her approval or keep proving she mattered. She already knew she did. That moment was her turning point. Not the yelling, not the slammed door, but the quiet realization in the middle of the night. The truth didn't break her. It set her free. After that night, something inside Tracy clicked into place. Like she had been carrying a heavy weight on her chest for years. And finally, she could breathe again. Life at her dad's was different. Not perfect, but real. He didn't tiptoe around her or try to overcompensate. He didn't try to fix everything. He just gave her space to exist, however she needed to. Some nights they watched old movies together. Some nights they didn't speak at all. But even in the silence, she never felt alone. One Saturday morning, Tracy heard a knock on her door. Her dad stood there holding 2 mugs of hot cocoa, even though it was over 80 degrees outside. Thought maybe you'd want to go by the flea market today, he said. You need a desk for your room. She nodded. Yeah, and maybe a lamp. Her old one hadn't made it through the move. That flea market trip turned into a full afternoon adventure. They found an old oak desk with a chipped corner and a wobbly drawer, but it had character. Over the next few days, she sanded it down and painted it navy blue. Her dad helped her fix the drawer track. It wasn't much, but it was hers. Every scrape and brush stroke felt like she was taking back a little piece of herself. She started journaling more, reading more. Tracy even joined a photography club at the community center. Something she had always wanted to do, but never felt cool enough for when she was living at Peter's house. Turned out, she was pretty good at it. One of the club leaders even told her, "You've got an eye for moments that matter." That phrase stayed with her. Maybe it was because she had spent so much of her life being overlooked. She learned how to notice the quiet things everyone else missed. School was still weeks away, but Tracy had already made up her mind. She was going to transfer. No more pretending things were normal at her mom's house. No more awkward drop-offs or fake smiles. She sat down with her dad and told him she wanted to make it official. Change her address, her school, everything. He didn't hesitate. "If that's what you want, Trace, I'll take care of the paperwork." She expected to feel nervous, maybe even guilty, but all she felt was relief. This was her fresh start. Not the kind people posted about on Instagram. Not a glow-up. Not a revenge phase. Just quiet rebuilding for herself. As she sat at her new desk editing a photo of wildflowers growing through a crack in the pavement, she realized something. She wasn't broken. She was just growing in a place she never had the chance to before. It had been almost a month since she left her mom's house when the storm finally rolled in. But it wasn't thunder or lightning. It came as a text message from her mom. "Peter left. Took the boys. I don't know what to do." At first, Tracy didn't react. She just stared at the screen, sipping coffee from the chipped mug she'd picked up at the flea market. The one that read, "You got this." A few minutes later, another message buzzed in. "I need you right now, Tracy. Please come home." That word, home, burned. It wasn't her home anymore. Her mom made that clear the day she drove off to the lake without her. The day she chose her new family over her. Tracy showed the text to her dad. He glanced at them, nodded slowly, and said, "It's your call, kiddo." She sat with it for a while. A part of her, the old part that still wanted to fix everything, wanted to go, to hug her mom, to forgive her, to try to piece together what Peter had broken. But that version of her didn't live here anymore. Instead, she wrote back, short and honest. "I'm sorry you're hurting, but I needed you long before you needed me. I've already found where I belong." No anger, no bitterness, just truth. Her mom didn't reply. Maybe she didn't know how. Or maybe, Tracy thought, she finally realized what she had lost. Either way, she didn't feel guilty. Sometimes the people who leave you behind eventually look back, only to find you're not standing in the same place anymore. She wasn't a backup plan. She was a daughter. But her mom had treated her like an option, and she had already chosen herself. It's been a few months since that last text from her mom. No follow-up. No apology. Just silence. And Tracy was okay with that. She used to think silence meant she had done something wrong, that she had to chase people and prove she was worth staying for. But now she knew better. Silence could also mean peace. She still thought about her mom sometimes. About Peter. About Tony and Caleb. About the life they built without her. She wondered if her mom regretted it. If she ever looked at a photo and saw the missing piece. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. Either way, Tracy had stopped waiting for a version of her mom that only existed in memories. Life now was simple but solid. She went to school. She took photos. She spent time with people who truly saw her. Her dad made pancakes every Sunday like clockwork. And every time he flipped one, it tasted like stability. Tracy wasn't bitter. She wasn't broken. She was just done begging to be seen. Sometimes the real turning point in life isn't a big, dramatic moment. It's when you quietly choose to stop showing up where love isn't given freely. She didn't get closure from her mom. She gave it to herself.